My internship took place at Brookfield High School. The learning environment was quite positive, interactive, and fast-paced. The students and staff were very enthusiastic, welcoming, and happy to be a part of their school, which made me want to be a part of their school. The physical environment was accessible to all students, and there were a variety of resources and uses of space, such as the main gym, the small gym, the weight room, and the spin room. Internship highlights at Brookfield High School. There were a couple of highlights that I found quite interesting during my experience at Brookfield High School. The first highlight was when I participated in the group workshop during the PD Day. This group workshop incorporated the body, the being, and the mind through various dances, which made participants break down their walls and encourage physical activity. What was learned? I learned that everyone can benefit from using dance as a way of incorporating the body, the brain, and the being. Through various dances, such as the Simba dance, the laser dance, and the slow motion runner dance, we learned that the environment can change quickly from a shy and intimidating one to a more positive and open environment. How did this impact me? This workshop impacted me in quite a positive way. I was surprised at how quickly I found myself becoming more open to the silliness of the dances. I found myself to be a lot more interactive with the other participants who at first I found intimidating, but as soon as I saw them performing the silly dance moves, I then became a lot more comfortable with opening up and breaking down those walls and participating in the activity. This workshop reminded me why I love sports and physical activity, because I find it brings people together and it does incorporate the body, the being, and the brain. The second highlight that stood out to me during my internship at Brookfield High School was when I was teaching a spiking skill in volleyball and running practice drills for it. Why did this highlight stand out to me? It allowed me to practice my coaching skills, which was beneficial to me because I am a coach and I do this as my job, and practice makes perfect. It allowed me to use certain theories learned from my university classes, such as that there are 3 types of learners: the auditory, the visual, and the kinesthetic, and this allowed me to use different approaches in order to make sure that all of the 3 types of learners within my class understood the skill I was trying to teach. As well, watching the girls improve in their skills through the progressive practice drills showed me that they were understanding what I was teaching them. Did this experience impact me? Yes, because this experience showed me that I had characteristics which would allow me to become a successful teacher and coach. This experience as well gave me reassurance that it is what I want to do as my career. This highlight made me realize that I wanted to teach high school rather than elementary school as well. Throughout my internship experience, I faced a couple of barriers. The first barrier that I faced was bad behavior by a couple of the students in some of the classes. During my internship, there were a couple of times where students would interrupt, yell out profanities, and refuse to participate in the warm-up activities. This made it hard for me to run warm-ups and keep the attention of the other students. How was this barrier addressed? For the interruptions, I tended to ignore the students. If that didn't work, I got them involved by getting them to demonstrate or coming up with new exercises to teach the class. I found that by getting them involved, they would stop interrupting and attention would be drawn to them, which made them feel like a leader. Swearing and profanities, I gave them a warning to fix the languages they used. Then, if they continued, I asked them to sit out and spoke to them about their behavior. If that didn't work, I finally brought in the teacher, which she dealt with those bad behaviors. The refusal to participate in the warm-ups, what I did was I encouraged the students who did not want to participate simply by explaining why the warm-up was important. I gave them a role as a leader, which motivated them to participate. There were some strengths and some weaknesses during my internship program at Brookfield. Some of the strengths that I found, were having a loud and clear voice. This is important because in order for me to explain the skills properly to the students, they need to hear and understand what I'm saying. This is important for when I need to inform the students of any information during class time. This is also important when I'm gathering the students together for an explanation or at the beginning and ending of a class. During class, especially a sports class, you have a lot of equipment, which makes it noisy. Having a loud voice and a clear one will make it easier to get the students' attention. An example would be when I was explaining a volleyball drill to the girls, and I used my voice loudly and clearly in order for them to hear and understand what I was saying. Another strength that I found I had was confidence when speaking. This strength is essential when teaching because it gives the teacher more credibility when teaching. Students tend to respect teachers who have confidence in what they are teaching. An example of this during my internship experience would be when I ran the warm-ups for the first time. The students before then didn't really give me much credibility or respect as a student intern because they didn't believe I had knowledge of what I was talking about. It is then that students started to respect and trust me with what I was teaching them. A couple of weaknesses or areas of improvement that I could have improved on during my time at Brookfield were taking more risks. During my internship, I tended to stay on the safe side of things by not trying new activities. Teachers should be able to take risks when teaching by trying new activities. Otherwise, the students will lose interest and the lesson will become very repetitive. This can be improved through taking initiative and gaining confidence to take these risks. An example of this was when I ran the same warm-up for 3 consecutive classes. The students started commenting things like, "Oh, we've already done this. This is getting kind of boring," and soon lost the interest in the warm-up activities. I then knew that I quickly had to adapt and take a risk by changing up some of the exercises that I've done during the warm-ups. Another area of improvement was patience. Having patience is a key characteristic a teacher should possess because they are working with students who are learning at different paces, therefore it does get frustrating. This is where patience comes in. This area can be improved through experience in teaching and or coaching. An example of when I got impatient was when I was helping some of the students perform the squat. Although I tried many different approaches, they still were not understanding. I noticed myself becoming frustrated and wanting to give up. That is when I stopped myself and reminded myself that students all learn at their own pace and they will eventually understand and to not give up, to keep trying. In conclusion, my internship experience was quite enjoyable because I got to work with different types of learners, students, and athletes. It was very useful because I learned many things such as positive reinforcement, how to handle misbehaved students, and how to adapt to new learning experiences. It was also positive because the students and staff were welcoming, open, and very helpful when I asked for help. Some advice I would give future interns would be to be professional during your experiences as an intern because you are representing the University of Ottawa and yourself as a professional intern. Writing your journal entries right after you have finished your hours on the same day. It tends to add up if you do not. Be sure to have a positive attitude when given tasks and facing challenges, and do not be afraid to ask questions and take risks. Thank you very much for listening.